Ah, damn, he's diffed out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Saturday, so that means we're back out here working on the Willys. So if you remember last weekend, we fully cycled the suspension and checked it from lock to lock at articulation so that we can get these fenders sectioned and mounted up. So now that these fenders are in, it actually frees up a lot of availability to wrap up some fabrication stuff under the engine, in the engine bay, that I really need to get done. I've been really looking forward to getting the exhaust done for a long time. I absolutely love doing exhaust. It's one of my favorite things to do on a vehicle, just make it sound just so rad. So this exhaust, if you remember, these frame rails are only 29 inches wide. That forces me to have to cut the headers and do a bunch of pie cuts to get them routed on the outside of the frame rails, but up high enough in between tubes of the rock sliders. It's going to be a lot of work and super fun. I'm not going to do like I did on my Silverado, and I'm not going to merge them together as an X pipe and back out to, on my Silverado's got SpinTech 6000s. That thing sounds better than my Corvette. I'm going to do a true dual exhaust on this. So it's going to go through the frame rail, or excuse me, through the rock sliders to the back. Inside the wheel tubs, I'm going to run some just chambered Flowmasters and then tuck that back up and out. So there's not going to be an H-pipe connection or an X-pipe, obviously, because of the way the transmission and stuff work out. So it's going to sound just like a dual exhaust, or a true dual exhaust. Having the fenders on also allows me to do a bunch of engine bay work. You guys have probably seen that the radiator's been positioned in and out 1,000 times as a placeholder. Finally going to get the radiator in its final position. On the way home from work yesterday, I stopped at the junkyard. I picked up a bunch of isolating brackets with big thick rubber. These two here came out of a Crown Vic. I have some aluminum tube that I'm going to weld, one at each corner of the radiator, so that it goes actually through this isolation bushing and supports the radiator, but allows it to move so it doesn't crack under flex, and you don't want aluminum mounted too rigid, it'll crack. So we're going to get the radiator positioned, mounted. We're going to do the cut and do a bunch of pie cuts and get the exhaust all the way to the back half. I don't know if we're going to do it in this video, but I need to get figured out the whole shock tower brace. There's going to be a bunch of bracing to support the shock towers up in the hood, under the hood, I'm sorry, and then probably some kickers down to the rock sliders. So let's get into this. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is an early CJ5. There's a cutoff year at 1971. 72 is the first year of the long nose. This is 5 inches shorter than a 1972 would be. The easiest way to tell if you have an early CJ5 versus a later, because they look identical, the hood shape and everything, but the short nose early CJ5s, this wheel arch right here goes right down into the tub. If it's a later CJ5, it's extended 5 inches right here at that corner, but everything else looks the same. The reason I'm going to keep the Willys front end on this is I'm working on a budget, but I'm also trying to keep as much of the original character as I can. I really like how ridiculous it looks with the axle shoved way out in front of the grill out here. If I were to put a long nose on this and move the grill up, I would lose a little bit of this wild look. I mean, the tires would still be way out in front of the grill, but it's just something I'm just going to keep the short nose on here. It's going to present some challenges to mount the radiator, but we're going to get into that right now. So before I take this whole front end off and start the exhaust, I want to bring you in and get a look at the radiator and how close everything is and how I'm going to overcome it. All right, guys, let's open this up and check it out. Okay, so you can clearly see how much clearance I don't have. So here's the mechanical fan. I just got these tubes welded on, as you've seen. That's just not enough clearance, bud. Not to mention the light. You know, I can't even get a headlight in here with that being so far pushed forward. 5 inches would be amazing up here. It's probably a bad decision for me not to run the long front end, but the visibility is a huge one for me, and keeping it original to being a short nose and early CJ is also really important to me. So we're going to have to run an electric fan on this. So I'm not going to do the fan yet. I'm actually going to pull this radiator out, put that back on the side. I want to move on to the exhaust right now. I'm really excited about getting these headers built and wrapped around and tucked under here. So I'm going to pull this front end back off. It's not that hard, but it's got to come off right now so we can get going on the exhaust. Let's go. Alright guys, there's no real point in watching me unbolt this. So I'm going to take the fenders and the grill off, and then we're going to get into the exhaust. So, wow, that was quick. So this is all factory exhaust tube from the Silverado. It's actually pretty heavy wall. It's 80 thousandths of an inch thick. So you can see the exhaust flange from the header just points directly at the frame rail. So I'm going to have to pie cut that and go all the way in between these rock sliders. Man, check this out. So I just put this 90 in here. Check this fitment out. Okay, let's put this one on. Shouldn't be hot. Alright, so that's the passenger side. Here's the driver's side. So we'll go in, go down. Oh, perfect. It's nice to have the flex coupler here so it can do its own thing. That's perfect. Okay, now we'll get the passenger side. Okay, so this one will go in behind the shock tower. Look at that. Perfect. Put a head bolt on, or a manifold. Here she is. Alright guys, we'll take a little look at it. So we got the headers, massive amount of pie cuts to a flex coupler, a factory flange. You can see the pipe, or the tube, excuse me, the exhaust tube goes in between all of, where are we at? In between, and then back up. That's it. And then that's where I'm working right now. It's a little dark under here. So I still got to drill out for the O2 bungs. I'm going to drill with the O2 bung right here, nice and vertical. It's a huge milestone for me. It's pretty rad. So that's the factory exhaust tubing from the Silverado. It measures 2 3/4 of an inch. Bunch of MIG welds. Doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to work. Alright, that looks good. So there it is. So we got the exhaust all the way back. We got it kicked back up right here. So I don't have the mufflers yet, so we're going to have to push that off into next week. I'm actually going to end this video off in a second. We're going to do the shock tower stuff next weekend. I need to get this planned out a little bit, and it's getting late today. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and I'll see you guys next weekend. Appreciate it.